Okay, right now we're next to Chase. Actually, Chase and I have known each other at least 10 hours. And Chase came from Maine, right?
Yeah.
Maine to stop by and visit me, right?
Yeah.
You drove 14, 15 hours, something like that?
Yeah, it was a long day.
Anyway, the reason why you're in front of the camera is because you're eating my bananas. No. Anyway, because you had Lyme disease, right?
Yep.
So Lyme disease affects a lot of people. It's actually epidemic. And you, why explain why you had, what happened to you during the whole process?
Okay.
And don't be scared.
All right.
Just because 7 million people are looking at you, don't be scared.
I'm all nervous.
Yeah.
First was the first incident was when my neck started getting so sore and painful, like as if I was just I had whiplash or I pulled a muscle in my neck, and it got worse and worse over the course of this day, and then to the point where I couldn't hold my head up. It hurt so bad, so I went to the hospital. The hospital tried to give me some pain medication to fix it, and I said no thanks, and my intuition was telling me do a blood test on Lyme. So I told them that can they hear me over
Yes.
this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I told them to do a blood test and check for Lyme disease, and they called me a couple days later and said, you tested positive for Lyme disease. And so I started doing a lot of research on it, and the symptoms would pop up every 3 or 5 days.
What would symptoms look like? You couldn't move your arm?
I would wake up in the morning and my arm wouldn't lift higher than this. It was just so painful, as if I was pinching a nerve. It felt like I pulled a muscle, pinched a nerve, something was wrong. It wasn't the muscle because it wasn't sore like a bruise. It was deeper in the tissue, deeper in the nerves. And so I started to gradually move from being just kind of like normal vegan, which included different cooked foods and sometimes eggs, more fats, like pouring olive oil on my salad, and I started to take the fats out.
Who told you to do this? Just your intuition?
I was on YouTube looking.
You were on YouTube?
Yeah.
You were on YouTube looking up Lyme disease?
Lyme disease, I was finding your channel.
You find my channel.
People were moving to like low-fat, raw vegan.
Low-fat, raw vegan.
And so I started to try that and moving more into fruit. And the whole...
You didn't want to take the antibiotics, right?
I didn't feel good doing that. I didn't want to do it.
You didn't want to do it. You hear that? You did not want to do that. And a lot of people do for years.
And I have them. My mom was worried about me. She saw the horror stories of Lyme, seeing that people get crippled and worse.
Right.
And so she was like, just buy the antibiotics, I'll buy them for you. And so I was like, oh, okay. For my mother, I bought the antibiotics, but I haven't taken them.
You haven't taken them?
And...
Get your money, get a refund? Yeah.
Well, I did about 3 weeks of just fruit, and my symptoms started to get it. It's like a slow process. Like the symptoms would show up less and less frequently, and less pain, and they'd go away quicker and quicker. So from that first moment where I couldn't move my neck, and the weeks after that where it was every few days, I couldn't lift my arm higher, I couldn't drive my car, I couldn't go out running because my knee would hurt so bad. I couldn't explain it. It's just I was getting scared, and at certain points going, is this just going to get worse and worse? I mean, giving up hope on my physical body itself, and it was kind of making me depressed. And so from that point, I was maybe my lowest point, to now where I've been changing my attitude around it. I think that's the biggest thing, is like not going into the depressed hopelessness and going into, hey, like people have healed themselves of worse things. I still love life, and I love running around, and I love being physically active, and so I started to focus on that, and even just starting like 10 minutes a day, like get out and running, or exercising a little bit, doing things that I love to do. The pain would come up a little bit, like if I worked too hard, but it's, at this point, it's like every week, it seems like once a week I might have like a tiny pain in my ankle, but it doesn't prevent me from going out and running. It's very...
You're on a mostly fruit-based diet, right?
Yeah, mostly fruit. I have been doing sweet potatoes and rice.
Rice, my suggestion would cut out the rice and sugar.
Yeah, I noticed as soon as you suggested that,
Right.
I noticed like I was still bloated from the rice I
Right.
just ate for dinner.
Right. No more rice.
No more rice.
Page 24, first two paragraphs. Or page 70. Yeah.
So definitely gonna, right now is where I want to start transitioning fully raw vegan, and do a lot more fruit, get enough greens, and
You need about a pound a day, maybe 2 pounds a day of greens.
Yeah.
It's easy to get it for your smoothies.
yeah,
And like this is one meal.
or half a meal.
Or half a meal. Some people eat 25, 30 bananas a day.
Yeah.
I eat like 15.
What else?
So you're on the road to recovery. Once you really change your attitude and enter more fruit into your diet, and now you're slowly going to get with the rice.
Yeah.
You get rid of Lyme disease.
I think the attitude was the biggest thing.
Biggest
for me.
thing, right? Wow. Yeah, I noticed when you walk in, I said, "Man, this guy must be a raw foodist." He was glowing, he was happy. And what the heck is going? What are you taking? I'm taking bananas. Better than drugs, right?
Yeah.
You hear that, drug world?
Definitely.
Yeah. So you're doing good then.
Yeah.
Doing good with 9% of not Lyme disease has its place, but you can conquer the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of problems is, I deal with a lot of Lyme disease. People are on medication for years, not getting any better. Years.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, learning that I had to learn about myself and like
Right.
what Lyme's meant to me and kind of represented in my life, and started to really get to know myself and what my goals are. Oh, here's one thing, like at one point I started, I think one of the habits that was detrimental to my health was really, sometimes I would get really obsessed with certain things. I'd get into the internet and I'd sit on the computer for even days at a time, kind of obsessed about a certain thing, and it wasn't good for my health. But I would just sit there instead of exercising or like doing yoga or getting outside. I would just sit on the computer